there has to be responsibility of oneself, of their legacy, of what's the impact they want to leave behind, one, and two, their health and well-being, to be able to experience alignment of your life force and of your divine destiny. This has been the year to transcend the ego. And I think a lot of people just went through serious ego deaths so that we can stop doubting ourselves and we can upgrade into the next blessed up version of who we are and be in a space of alignment and live out our truth. This is why the mantra of, my brand is alignment is the true hustle. When you find alignment, that's the work. But once you're in alignment, sustaining it doesn't have to feel like work. That's not the hustle. We've had so much of a hustle culture. And when we find ourselves in the alignment to do that work, things start to flow effortlessly. And that is the medicine of the Arcline. Welcome to the last episode of the Sovereign Society podcast. I'm your guide, Sabrina Riccio. And while it's really amazing that this episode is coming out with the solstice, and what a wild ride 2022 has been. I don't know about you, but this has been hands down the most challenging year of my life. I know, with all the health challenges I've been navigating through and almost dying a couple weeks ago from my medication, and just the overall challenges that really came up. Having, I had a death in the family. My cousin passed away last week, and a lot of challenges that wanted me to quit. But what kept me going was this podcast and my community, and knowing that I'm here to revolutionize the world with my medicine. So before I dive in, I just want to say thank you for being here, because I wouldn't have been able to get through it if it weren't for you. And I wanted to close out this season of the Sovereign Society podcast strong. And I'm here talking about the deeper spiritual understanding of the 10 plus years that I've been studying Kundalini yoga and neuroscience, and the 15 plus years I've been building businesses and brands into this episode. And I wanted to share this with you so that you can have 2023 be a strong year. So with that being said, I'm excited to be infusing teachings of Kundalini yoga into this episode. So I'm talking a lot about Tantric numerology and the Arcline, and that's a little sneak peek of that piece. But some of the 10 bodies that we all emanate, as well as what the numerological medicine is of 2022 and 2023, both on a Tantric numerology level and through tarot, as well as what it really means to hone in on your SMART goals during this time. I think with Mercury retrograde, leading into the new year, and we've been in the shadow period now, this is just a time to rest. And so I'm talking a lot about that in this episode too. But if you want to learn more on how to create smarter and not harder, I invite you to check out my latest offering. It's a super affordable masterclass called Planning with Purpose, where I'm diving deeper into the daily planetary energy of each day of the week, as well as what it means to hone in on your SMART goals and how you can start strategically planning your business based off of the astrological days of the week, your own menstrual cycle if you're someone who's bleeding and has a cycle, and just so much more. So that, again, I want you to create smarter and not harder in 2023, which is why I'm focusing so much more on systems, not just on the podcast, but more so on YouTube in 2023, where I'm going to be sharing with you more about that, and with my one-on-one clients. So If you want to experience planning with purpose and you're listening to this on Wednesday, 5 p.m., I'm doing a live training of that. And if you can't catch it, you can obviously watch the replay, or if you're not listening to this on Wednesday, you can still watch the replay. It'll be just as great. You can check out sabrinariccio.com/planning-with-purpose, or you can check the show notes out to get more information there. But again, I just want to be able to have you create smarter and not harder. And so again, this episode is going to be a really powerful one because I want you to start 2023 on the right foot. So without further ado, let's dive in. All right, I want to start this episode talking about 2022 and why it was a challenging year. No matter who I talked to, everyone was tested. Of course, there were a lot of great things that happened, but a lot of the people that I know had some pretty serious challenges in 2022. And, we had a lot of big astrological shifts and transits that happened. And there was one point where it was just like, does this ever stop? And I think a lot of us, as we're in this last month of December and we're just reflecting a lot more on the season, we're just like, damn, I was able to get through that. I know that's been a lot of what's been going through a lot of my friends and my mind, and I've been catching up with them, and they're all feeling the same of like what we've been able to accomplish in 2022 has just been a huge testament of strength. So before I dive in, if you're listening and you had a really testy 2022, I just want to applaud you and honor you because it was no easy feat, but there's a reason for that. And that's what I really wanted to talk about in this episode. Like I've shared in the intro, I've spent well over 10 years studying Kundalini yoga, Tantric numerology, and just overall neuroscience and the deeper spiritual connection of everything. Especially this year when, going to doctors all over the West Coast and especially up and down California, no one really had answers or was speaking my language. I knew it was up to me to put the pieces together and find the interconnection in all things. And this is something I want to share. Not necessarily doesn't have to talk about seizures or whatever with you, but just more so the understanding of the connection that's been going on in 2022 and how it all relates to be part of the bigger picture. So I want to start talking numerologically about what 2022 was about. 2022 was a 6-year, right? And so in tarot, of the major arcana, the 6 is the Lovers, which is connected with Gemini. I'm a Gemini, so obviously I'm very connected with that card. And in the teachings of Kundalini yoga and Tantric numerology, a 6 year is focusing a lot on the Arcline, which is the source of your destiny and your karma and your overall, where all the subconscious crap in your subconscious mind is stored. So let's first talk about the Tantric numerology piece about it, and then we'll dive in more about the Lovers. So first of all, you're probably like, what's the Arcline? Well, first of all, before I even go there, know that you have 10 bodies, right? We're more than just a physical body. We have our physical body, we have 3 mental bodies, and we have 6 spiritual bodies. And one of those spiritual bodies is the Arcline. And so the Arcline is from earlobe to earlobe. And for women, it's nipple to nipple. And this is actually, so what women have 2, men only have 1. This is actually the understanding of the Arcline is our halo, right? And in this Arcline is where we hold a lot of our relationships and our karma. On a sexual level, we hold the karma of our past lovers in our Arcline until we clear it out. And so I think a lot about this with Mother Mary, and I think it's because like Christmas is here, and it's such a powerful time to honor Mother Mary. I have her tattooed on me. We had the 12/12 portal, and we're closing out today. As this episode airs on 12/22/2022, we're closing out the 2222 portal, which is something I talked about in a previous episode, but this has been a year of alignment. 222 is an angel number that has to deal with alignment. And our Arcline is what allows us to align to our destiny. Our Arcline is what allows us to align to our highest self and to align to the divine within, right? And I think a lot about the Arcline being this halo that protects you and your heart center, which is why also when we see a lot in like old Renaissance paintings, you see that like big circle behind a lot of paintings of images of Mother Mary, for instance, and that halo is there. That's the Arcline. It's connected to the pituitary gland, which is our third eye or the sixth chakra, right? And that's what allows us to hone into our intuition. And I mean, it's no accident too that, you know, there's been every time like the Avatar movies come out, the newest Avatar movie came out talking about water. And for so long, we've been fighting for water and decalcifying the pineal gland because so much of our water and crap that we eat or consume or is in our foods, it's calcifying our pineal gland, so we can't tap into our intuition. And so you're seeing more and more people talking about clean water. I know for me, I have a Kangen machine. It's been in my family for years. And when I was in the hospital getting an EEG scan, a brain scan, the day of the massive eclipse that happened back in October, that was revolutionary, and it was intentional and divinely guided. But I drank a whole gallon of that, and I fasted, and I had like the most powerful spiritual experience of my life, sober, beyond any psychedelic I've ever done. But there's no accident why these Avatar movies are talking about water now too. And this is just a time for us to recognize that we need to tap into our intuition and allow our intuition to take the lead, because this is what allows us to connect to our divinity, right? And when we know the aura that's connected to our pineal gland and the third eye, that is the Arcline, is the center of your aura that brings about your radiance, right? So think of it this way. When you see my branding, right, you see that I spell out hue-man, HUE-MAN. And that's because that's your light body. That's a huge part of your Arcline, which is what steers the aura. You being a human being, HUE-MAN, right? Human being. Hue is your light. That's your aura, your halo, right? It's what radiates out into the world. That man, what makes you a man is your mind, right? And again, you actually have three minds. And this is just a little sneak peek of Tantric Numerology, which is something I teach a lot in my other courses. But if you're interested, let me know, and I will totally do a workshop about Tantric Numerology. But the man piece, right? That's when you're able to master your mind. And then being is this now moment. So all of this is about the power of your mind and how that sets the tone for your reality. And that's something that I really learned this year, navigating through so many health issues with my brain, having 8 brain scans and them not finding answers and doctors saying everything's normal, everything's normal, everything's normal. And I realized how much of that was so connected to my mindset. So working with my therapist and recognizing the trauma that I had in my childhood and how that impacted my reality. All of that is stored in the Arcline, because the Arcline is where the subconscious mind lives. That subconscious mind is formed between the ages of 0 and 7, right? And so if you still have unprocessed traumas, and I'm going to dive deeper into this when I talk about the numbers of 2023, but when you still have unprocessed trauma or karma, that is going to dim the light of not only your Arcline, but it's also going to cause holes in your auric field. And so what I've seen is that 2022 has just really been a huge year of trusting your intuition, right? especially with what we've navigated through, anchoring in is what I believe the Aquarian age, when we had the massive transit with the eclipse. But know that this Arcline, this halo of yours, it's here to protect you. It's here to protect your negative mind, your positive mind, and your neutral mind, so that you can focus on your divinity and live from that space, right? We've had to learn, some of us the hard way, that we are not of this world, right? We're just passing by. And so it's really important to not be steered off course from our visions and from our goals and from our desires, and that we keep the path ahead and stay focused and not be led astray, especially when the going gets tough, because we went through challenging times because we had to face the very challenges or the issues. We had to come face to face with the areas in our lives that we may not have been in our power, or where we needed to learn how to nourish ourselves better. As that goes back to the Lover's card, right? Before you can even experience love from someone else, you have to learn to love yourself. And the best way to love yourself is to reclaim your power back, right? So when you know how to love yourself, and when part of loving yourself is nourishing yourself better, you're able to magnetize the life that you desire, where you no longer have to chase it. You attract it into your life. And this comes from addressing the very things that are blocking us, whereas there's self-esteem issues, whereas there are insecurities, all things of the mind, right? And so while our karma is stored in our Arcline, right? If you're someone who needs to address situations from the past that you've been bypassing or have been ignoring, recognize that when you allow yourself to work through those tests and challenges, because again, the only way out is through, right? That is the best way to be able to reclaim your power back. So a practice that I love to do is, like, if I'm feeling disempowered, I like to pull my energy, calling forth the highest benevolence of truth and love and compassion. And I love to pull my energy back from the places, from the things that took away my power, that I sometimes I gave permission because of the insecurity or the low self-worth, right? But give yourself permission to reclaim your power back. Visualize you reclaiming your power back. I like to keep my eyes closed and just give back my power. Because where did I give away my power? Because of doubt, insecurity, all these lower negative mind, negative challenging beliefs, right? Our Arcline carries the traumas of our past relationships and our karma that, again, haven't been resolved. And so that's why it's important to address not only the past relationship you have with others, but more so the past relationship you have with yourself, and choosing you to be your top priority again. Again, if the Arcline is where the subconscious mind lives, what's your relationship with your younger self? Have you given them the love that they always needed and yearned for outside of yourself? And sometimes triggers can happen that can bring about, traumas from your childhood. And recognize, rather than feeling a victim of it, okay, cool, this is coming up so that I can reclaim my power back and step into my power and give myself what I needed at that time, because the past and the present and the future are all here, right? The actions of the now are what set precedent for the future, and the actions of the now are based off of what happened in the past. And the biggest thing I want you to remember is that the past doesn't have power over you unless you give it power in this now moment. Are you giving away your power in this now moment to something that happened in the past? Or are you willing to recognize and to see what happened in the past, take responsibility, practice forgiveness, and be better, do better, learn from that? And more than that, also being more humble and compassionate to yourself and to others who may be going through it, because you've been there. I think that's what really brings the humanness back alive in humanity, is when we recognize that we're all doing our best based on our awareness. And some of us, we make mistakes, and are we willing to forgive ourselves, and are people willing to forgive you? And if they aren't, more importantly, it's important that you forgive yourself and move forward from that space. So, as someone who has the desire to revolutionize the world with their medicine and really live out their divine mission and purpose, honoring your Arcline is about, again, taking responsibility for your subtle body. So, your subtle body, which is the ninth body, has a lot to do with your legacy, right? So, the subtle body, just a quick little recap or understanding, the subtle body is and the soul are the two things that live on when your physical body dies. So the subtle body is like if a song is playing and it reminds you of someone, that's because their subtle body is present. So it's the impact you leave on someone's life. I think a lot about like what happened with Twitch last week, which was really challenging as someone who has struggled with mental health her entire life, one, and two, Twitch and I both graduated from Chapman University. I mean, granted, he graduated 6 years before me, but you know, it's a very small university, and we're very connected and very family. And when I was at Chapman my senior year, I called a suicide hotline. So it hit me a little bit in a way, but you know, having that be a situation that brought about more conversation around mental health, and not only mental health, but mental health with men, because men have been so conditioned to put this demeanor that everything's okay, and they have a harder time asking for help. You know, these are the things that I feel like Twitch's subtle body was asking for us to address. And I'm passionate about mental health, if you know me by now, and which is why I want to help people with systems, because I want you to honor your mental health. And if you have your systems in order in your business, you can take time away from your business, have things automate so that you can take care of yourself. You can be with your loved ones. You can actually enjoy life. And for me, that's what got me sick, was that my systems were a mess, one, and two, I burnt the candle on both ends, that I got sick and burnt out. And that's what happened with my brain, right? So again, the subtle body is the legacy you leave behind. And I'm also a 9. So the subtle body and I are very connected in that sense. It's my main body in Tantric numerology. But with that, there's also the pranic body. So the pranic body is your breath, right? And your breath is what gives you your life force, because bitch, if you ain't breathing, you ain't living, right? You're not alive, I should say. You can still be breathing and not living. You can be miserable, but you're not alive if you're not breathing. So all in all, it's just like there has to be responsibility of oneself, of their legacy, of, you know, what's the impact they want to leave behind, one, and two, their health and well-being, to be able to experience alignment of your life force and of your divine destiny, right? This has been the year to transcend the ego. And I think a lot of people just went through serious ego deaths so that we can stop doubting ourselves and we can upgrade into the next blessed up version of who we are, and be in a space of alignment and live out our truth. This is why the mantra of, you know, my brand is alignment is the true hustle, because when you find alignment, that's the work. But once you're in alignment, sustaining it doesn't have to feel like work, right? That's not the hustle. We've had so much of a hustle culture. And when we find ourselves in the alignment to do that work, things start to flow effortlessly. And that is the medicine of the Arcline. You begin to magnetize, life becomes a lot more with ease and grace. And I think that's what just so much of this year really brought about, so that we could prepare for a 7-year next year, which is the aura. So the Arcline is what steers the aura, right? We all know the aura as like the light body of who we are. And the thing is, it's really powerful, is that our aura can extend 3 to 9 feet. And the reason why Kundalini yogis, for instance, wear white is that they can extend their aura another feet when they wear white. I mean, it's no accident why I'm like wearing a white-ish kind of shirt, but this is something that with Kundalini yoga that I love learning more about how we can work with the frequency, because again, the Arcline is also part of frequency. And if our frequency is weak, which is why I work with tools like a Healy, this device that I'm showing on YouTube, but this little device that I have has helped me with my bioresonance so that I can realign and elevate my frequency to areas that are healthy and balanced. And that's why I love doing sound healing and whatnot as well. But again, like, we have to understand that the future is frequency. The future is not female. The future is all inclusive, and the future is frequency. And when we allow ourselves to operate from a higher frequency, our success is inevitable. Life comes with more ease and grace. And so, preparing 2022, the 222 year of alignment, wasn't easy, right? But it's preparing us for the 7 aura chariot year. And so, again, when we have this strong aura, we're confident in who we are. And when we're operating from that space, we can move forward in life with more ease and grace because we know the importance of honoring the journey and trusting the process. And we know that we are divinely guided. And that's the other thing. A 7 years, very connected with the divine, right? And so I think the divine really invited us to take responsibility for our lives in 2022. And I think something that happened in the coaching industry, there's been drama lately between coaches and all this stuff. I don't even know all the stories, but just seeing all the crap, and like, God's cleaning up the coaching industry right now, because there is just, in the beginning of the coaching industry, no one knew what they were really doing. And then people, like, there wasn't anything to like work off of. It was pretty much like a go with the flow, figure this out, because it became a new industry. And I mean, it's challenging when there aren't any like criterias or, regulations or whatnot. I mean, in a way it's a challenge because, we can invest in people that can't meet our needs, but then in a way it's also like, who needs a piece of paper to value your worth and validate what your knowledge. And so I think it's like a catch-22 in that sense. But overall, we have to recognize that our intention, which has a lot to do with our aura, and who we are in this now moment, and who we choose to embody and what we choose to emanate, is what's setting precedent for our success in 2023 and beyond. And here's the thing: if you still have a lot of unprocessed trauma or emotions, that is actually creating holes in the aura, which is when the density of the world can come in and suck your energy. And that's why when you reclaim your energy back and pull your energy back in and bring it into your heart, and just, again, have the intention to only call in your energy, the purest, truest energy of who you are, and keep that vision and that intention alive as you're reclaiming your energy back. It's a very, very powerful practice when you do it properly, intentionally, right? But overall, the way you strengthen your aura is by overcoming the traumas of the past and clearing out the karmas of the past. So again, taking responsibility, practicing forgiveness, giving yourself that love and that nourishment you need. And again, I think that's why 2022 was so challenging, because we've had to face everything that was out of alignment, right? And we're, it's been a testy couple years, but we're always going to be able to navigate through what we go through when we believe in ourselves and when we connect with the divine, and we know that God will always give us what we can handle, right? And so I just want you to recognize the power of, and when we think about the chariot card, like, the chariot is what's moving forward, right? It's this confidence of to persevere and to keep going. That's the way that I see the chariot. And when the going gets tough, I don't want you to doubt yourself. I want you to keep going. I want you to persevere. I want you to strengthen your light and to believe in yourself, believe into your work, believe in your power. And when you do, when you believe in yourself first, again, law of assumption, when you believe in yourself first, other people will believe in you. And you won't need to look for people or validation outside of you to tell you your worth. You believe in yourself. And when you have that belief as your dominant belief and your mind is focused on that dominant truth, there's nothing outside of you that can steer you off course unless you allow it. And again, the unconscious allowing is because of past traumas or insecurities or doubts, all things related to the past, right? So again, when you have this strong aura, this strong electromagnetic field, you emanate this energy field that surrounds you and radiates from your physical body. You have the ability and the power to be the light you wish to see in the world. And from that space, you can be unapologetically you. You can be who you are. But when your aura is weak, you're more likely to be in a state of disempowerment. And from that space, you're easily manipulated, and you'll be playing safe, playing small, going with the crowd and being a sheep, right? You're not in your power. You're just following suit. And if you're here to be a thought leader, and you're here to be, I don't even like to say the word like a trendsetter, but if you're here to pave the path and lead and to, shake shit up and revolutionize the world with your medicine, the key is to keep your spirits high about you and your business. The key is to be able, and perfect for Mercury retrograde going into a new year, to look back and see how far you've come. Take time this holiday season to reflect on what you've accomplished, the version of you you've become in this past year. I don't know about you, but I feel like this has been the longest year. This has felt like 10 years in 1 year. 2022 has been the longest year I've ever navigated through, is what it felt like. There's been so many times where it felt like things, where did the year go? But this year really was, because it was full of tests and challenges. I know for me, navigating with my health and, all those things. But everyone, like I said, everyone I talked to really said that they had a really testy time. But the key is to not quit at the 11th hour. The key, again, is to keep persevering and to remember why you started, and to know that, there's a purpose in this life, and success is your birthright. It just comes down to you believing in it. And so I wanted this to be the last episode of 2023 because I really want you to take what I shared here and really apply it into your life. I'm not coming back. The podcast will be back on 1/11/223. So I'm taking this time to just fill up my cup and to hone in on my content strategy for 2023 so that I can experience the success I'm worthy of. I'm taking care of my health and well-being, seeing a new doctor, working on healing and balancing my hormones. And I'm just spending quality time with myself and, following when I'm feeling inspired, because again, inspired is in spirit. And I feel like that is when we are connected with our intuition, is when we're inspired. And when we're connected with our higher self is when we're inspired. And from that space, this is how we revolutionize the world, because we're in spirit, we're connected and in alignment with our spirit. And the whole spiritual journey of coming into wholeness, and I'll just circle back, come full circle with the lovers right there, is that for you to find union within so that you can not be in the space of codependency and be reliant on someone else, that to me is true love. And that comes from you finding that within yourself first. And when you embody that, you'll attract, the love of your life. You'll attract the soul babe clients. But you need to get clear on who and what you're ready to attract by embodying that within yourself, sharing from that overflow, and again, not having something or someone outside of you to fill in a void that you can provide. This has just been a huge year of self-reliance, and I just feel it's been testy and challenging for a lot, but I also feel that 2023, the divine is going to bring about a lot of divine love, because love is needed on this planet more than ever, and we have to find that love within ourselves first. So the question is, are you willing to take the time to genuinely love yourself by doing that deeper work. And if you've been doing that deeper work, to reflect on how far you've come and what you've learned, and actually apply and implement what you've learned. Are you willing to, hone in on your gifts and the lessons you've learned, and just you? Are you willing to embody your truth and not follow suit with the crowds? That was the other thing that was really hard, seeing like how many people just like consented to like doing these AI imaging crap things when, all the information came out that a lot of that artwork was stolen. And I don't know, that was really like hard to see. And I'm grateful I, didn't follow that trend of downloading a stupid app and getting like this virtual reality crap thing on. But that's the other thing we had to really navigate through as well, is what's the healthy balance of working with technology and embracing the humanness so that we can continue to anchor in humanity on this planet. And again, I think that begins with us. So my prayer for you is that you take time to enjoy your holidays, and you take the time to slow down. I mean, if you're in the Northern Hemisphere, we're in winter, and there's been a lot of solar flares, a lot of really intense energy, because again, it's just continuously pushing out what isn't serving, pushing out what needs to be cleared out of our arc lines. And take care of yourself, hydrate, meditate, journal, do what you need to do to fill your cup, because this is an all hands on deck situation we're navigating through. There's still a deep spiritual war happening, and we need to make sure we're taking care of our minds and recognizing the weak areas in our lives, and find strength in those areas so that we can again reclaim our power back, because the enemy knows how to fuck with us, and it knows our weaknesses. And so being able to come clean about our weaknesses and address what's been going on, and choosing to find strength in that's what's going to allow us to persevere and to keep going and to revolutionize the world and to be part of the solution. So my prayer for you, again, last time, is that you do you and you take care of yourself. And I would love to hear how this episode empowered you to be part of the solution and to choose to see this perspective that and make that decision that you're choosing to close out 2022 strong, so that you can truly welcome in success in 2023 by being you. I want to hear all about it. And if you love this podcast, please leave us a rating and review on iTunes. If you're part of my email list, I have a little special gift coming your way on Christmas, so keep your eyes peeled on that. But all in all, I just want to say thank you so much for your love and support this year. I know I didn't have as many episodes as I wanted to, because I was in and out of the hospital and just extremely sick and had no energy. But receiving love notes and having you here, it means the world to me. So again, thank you for your love and support. And again, the arrow has to be pulled back before it can be shot forward. And I just know what I've had to navigate through has just been clearing out the gunk and my own Arcline, so that I can continue to be of service to my community, continue to be of service to you. And so again, if you want to check out the Planning with Purpose workshop, visit the link in the show notes. And this is a way that you can help support me with the business, so I can continue to deliver amazing free content to you. But may this holiday season be filled with abundance and joy and health and vitality and incredible memories and joy, because you deserve it. Thank you again. And I'll be excited to connect with you again. 2023, 111. It's going to be a powerful episode and an amazing season. We've got so many great guests coming through. But again, happy holidays. I love you. And remember that the world is ready for your medicine. Take care. Satnam.